Welcome to SweatNBullets Ranch 2022. Seems like we've had a long winter and it's finally broken now, and so we're out here in the greenhouse now. Thanks for coming along with us today. We want to show you some of the things we've got going so far this year. We've got some herbs started up here. We have, here's some cabbage. I'll show, I think you can see some cabbage got started in here. So we just made the decision that we're going to be cutting back on the number of plants that we grow this year. Last year we started about 4,000 plants and we didn't have sales that supported that many plants, so we're really going to cut back a lot this year. We've also had some other things that have popped up, and I just don't think that we're going to do as many plants this year. But we're still going to be doing some, and we're still going to bring you guys along. And we're happy to have you with us. I want to show you one thing over here. These are the loofah gourds that we had planted out by the fence last summer. Here, it's got the seeds inside. We're going to take one of our loofah gourds that we grew on our fence last year out there. When these are growing, they're green and smooth, and they kind of look like a zucchini growing on the vine. But you can hear the seeds rattling inside there. We're going to cut one open. There's some of the seeds. And you might recognize these from being in the store. They sell these, if I can get part of that skin back there without tearing it up. We'll get those cleaned up, and you might recognize those. They find that back in the beauty department, a lot of times they sell these as sponges for washing your face and stuff. So we're going to get the seeds out of these and save those seeds. We'll have some more going on this year. We'll have these processed up and available later on in the season. But in the greenhouse is not everything that we're doing. We still have some stuff going on outside. So come along and I'll show you what we've got going outside. Now we're out here in our, what we call the playpen garden. If you remember last year, we had a video where Wyatt and Aaron came out and sprayed the trees down to protect them from the freezing temperatures. And this is actually, I think, the tree that was in that video. But the apple trees, when we moved in here, had not been pruned for quite some time. And so we've been working on trying to get them pruned. It's better for the tree and it's better for apple production. So what we end up with is some limbs off these apple trees. And we got a little something extra going with these too. So come along with me inside and I'll show you what we're doing with the apple trees when we prune our apples. Okay, here we have one of our apple tree limbs. I'm just taking this hatchet and getting rid of these smaller limbs. So all we want is mostly the main trunk. These limbs are not big enough to do what we need to do with them. So for now, we're just taking these off. and then we'll take them to a saw and continue to process them inside. All right, here's our de-limbed limb from our apple tree that we just pruned. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to be chunking these up into some small pieces. You can do it a number of different ways. I'm just going to use our miter saw for this. So let me get my ear protection on and we will show you what we're doing here. You got to be careful and make sure you're holding this up against the stops, because especially with this odd shape, it can get away from you. Just repeat that about 1,000,000 times until you get done. All right, we're ready for the next step. This is some of the apple limbs that you just saw us cut into these little sections. You can see, I don't know if you can zoom in, I'm going to try to hold that still. Both rings are in there. That they grow fast. It also makes that wood kind of weak. For purposes, those of you that have smokers and you buy apple wood chunks for your smoker, that's what we're doing with this. I'm just going to take one I've got here. I'm doing this right off on top of my my sawhorse here, and we've got this set up as a little table. Got some scrap wood to protect my plywood, and we're just going to chop this up into some small pieces. You get a lot of exercise bending over and picking up off the ground. You can make them as big or as small as you want. If you like the chunks, bigger chunks, that works fine. If you like smaller chips, you can split them as many times as you want. But what I did with the apple trees that we did previously was spread them out. Once you get them to this stage, you spread them out over the table. We let them set out about a week or so to dry. I know they're not going to be fully dry in that amount of time, but at least it gets a chance to get the some of the moisture out of them. And then what I did was I weighed them out and bagged them up for applewood chunks, and we will have these at the farmer's market to sell for people that use them as smokers. And I don't know if you can see it, but I poked a bunch of holes in these bags because you don't want them sealed up to retain the moisture. You want to have holes in your bags to make sure that moisture gets a chance to get out of there. But that's what we're doing. One thing that we can reuse those apple tree limbs that need to come off the tree anyway. So it's just being good stewards of what we have. We got one more project we want to show you over here against the wall, and that is our seed potatoes. Now, if you've grown potatoes in the past, you'll recognize this. Some people plant entire whole potatoes. They'll go to the store, buy the seed potatoes, and plant them whole. What we have always done was cut them up into pieces and let them dry, like we got going here. And what you're looking for is you want to, as you have your whole potato, and they'll have these eyes on them. And we try to cut them in pieces where they have at least a couple of eyes. This one's got a whole bunch, actually. So that one, see, I probably could have went ahead and cut there again, because that's got a couple there and there's a couple there. But some of the bigger potatoes, like this is a big one, but it's only got a couple of eyes on it, so it's a bigger piece. Some of the small potatoes had more eyes on them. And there's some folks that have done some experiments and to see whether the whole potatoes or the partial potatoes get better results. And honestly, we watched that and I don't remember what their results were, but this is the way we've always done it. We've been happy with it. And so that's what we're going to continue to do. These are Kennebec potatoes. We grew those last year and had real good success, so we're going back with those again this year. And I think once I get back into town, I'm probably going to get some more. This is enough for a couple of rows for us, but I think we're going to expand out and do a few more potatoes this year. So I'll get some more of those when I go to town next time. Well, I think that's all we have for you this time. Thank you for joining us at SweatNBullets Ranch. God bless.